Good morning, everybody. I think people are still joining in, but in the interest of time, we would like to start the webinar for the day. I'm very happy and proud, as always, to introduce my dear student, Ms Madhura Bharadwaj, who graduated in the year 2015 from the Department of Computer Science and Engineering. This was my first batch of placements as well, and a history and a record created. So I remember Madhura getting into ITC Infotech, the first company, and Microsoft, the last company on campus as well. That was the first breakthrough for me, at least, to get into an organization like Microsoft. Madhura, a very hearty welcome to you. Thank you for accommodating us at your, odd hours of time, of course. And students, I think morning 9 o'clock, this is a good time for us to start with. A quick round of introduction for Madhura. So currently, you're working with Microsoft as an Azure Escalation engineer in USA. So Madhura has served Microsoft in India for about 3 years, right, Madhura? And yes,
about 4.5, yeah.
Yeah, 4.5, and now moving to USA. So she'll be joining soon the office there. She has earned the Microsoft CSS Impact Award in the year 2019, Microsoft Architect of Excellence in 2017, and has been also the winner of worldwide hackathons back to back in the years 2018 and 19. A whole lot of achievement in just about 3-4 years of time. And that's where you can see how people, scale up. To add to, so education is not the only thing. She's an all-rounder basically. She loves dancing, and being away from India also, she's still continuing her passion, which means she's a classical dancer and she already knows Bharatnatyam. I think she's also taking coaching on Kathak now from one of her guru in Bangalore. And she's also the thing that had attracted me when I met her during the first, interaction during the ITC placements was her affiliation towards NGOs working for the non-profit volunteering organization. At that age, to do something like that, I was impressed, Madhura, and you are always a charm to me for that reason, right? So this is a quick introduction for Madhura to start with. We will see, LinkedIn has been one of the most important things. I don't know how many of you remember, but whenever I take your classes, I make this a point saying WhatsApp, Instagram, all these are for us to have, feeling blessed. What is that? I don't know too many words because I don't post such posts, but getting onto LinkedIn is very, very important. And not just getting onto LinkedIn, but it's important to have the right perspective because it's one of the most professional websites you could look at, correct? So Madhura will be sharing with us what is it that you should look at and how do you really want to create your profile and things forward from there. I think I've spoken about 3-4 minutes, Madhura. It's all over to you to take on from here.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for the warm welcome and the warm introduction. Hello, everyone. Like Sangeeta ma'am has already introduced me, my name is Madhura Bharadwaj. I'm from the 2015 batch of computer science. Without further ado, I would like to start with today's presentation, today's webinar. And as you already know, we're going to be talking about expanding your professional network through a platform like LinkedIn. Now, I want your focus to be on expanding the professional network and not essentially on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is a platform that we are going to be using to showcase our professional skills and our professional profile, right? So before we begin, let me just share my screen. I'm not a PPT person, but I'm going to, okay. I'm going to just have a PPT as a guiding point for you to keep a track of where we are and what is that we are discussing right now, okay? So expanding your professional network. This is what we're going to be talking about. Let me just fix the logistics on my screen for a second. Okay. All right. So we're going to be talking about personal branding. I know you might have heard about personal branding a whole lot, but today we're going to learn about personal branding and why it is important for you to create your own brand. Next, we'll talk about being a professional and what are some ways that you can in a simplistic way display professionalism and what are the things that take you a long way in your professional and career journey. And you'll be surprised to know they are the simplest things that you could be doing. Next is LinkedIn profile optimization, because in this time of pandemic and beyond, especially for people in engineering like me and you, right? We are in this technical industry that evolves once in 2 weeks. Once in 2 weeks, there are publishers going on, there are new releases, there are new products coming almost twice a month. So in this era, only in-person events or meeting people in person is not the only way to expand your network. And at this point, there is no other platform that is dominating as much as LinkedIn is, which is why I'm going to be talking about how to optimize your LinkedIn profile so people can reach out to you, or so you can reach out to people and share your interests with them, right? So LinkedIn profile optimization. LinkedIn etiquette, one of the most important topic that I'll be covering today is LinkedIn etiquette, because I want the students of HAC to be interacting with people around the world in the right way. And then we'll move on to question and answer. You can ask me any questions you have. If you do not want to ask them on these platforms, and always, I'm always available on other platforms, and you can reach out to me there as well. Okay. So let's begin. Okay. Personal branding. Now, what is personal branding? As the slide says, it is your perceived value. Okay, it's how you want people to perceive you. But let me start off with giving you some examples. Think of a brand like, let's say, MTR. Okay, Marvelly Tiffin Rooms. Everybody has heard of the brand MTR. MTR started its journey during the World War II, when when there were soldiers and people who were affected by the war did not have food to eat. MTR started a small canteen. A small group of people got together to cook food and to distribute food to people affected through that war, right? So from there, their journey started. And today, so many years later, that a company or the brand of MTR is still known for homely South Indian food and a group of people who help people when they are hungry, who help people when they are in trouble, right? So that's the brand that MTR has created for themselves. MTR hasn't created a brand, for example, like a luxury hotel. MTR is your neighborhood hotel, right? That's the brand that the makers of MTR wanted to create for themselves. Um, on the contrary, let's take something like Lamborghini. Everybody knows Lamborghini because of this song. Eh, it's quite irritating, but yeah, that's the song everybody knows Lamborghini for because of, right? Let's think of them. When the makers of Lamborghini were asked, why don't you ever advertise on television? You know what they said? They said, our customers are not sitting around wasting time watching TV. So we do not want to advertise Lamborghini to people who are watching TV, which is why you see Lamborghini ads on magazines in an airplane, because they believe that their customers fly in an airplane doing business and always busy doing one or the other thing at a higher level and not just sitting around and watching TV. So that's the brand Lamborghini has created for themselves. Similarly, you can think of Parle-G. They don't want to be a luxury cookie brand, but they want to be a Indian biscuit brand that you can have with chai, right? So when companies are stressing so much about branding, individuals like us, professionals like us should also be stressing about our personal brand. How do I want people to perceive me? Now, what do I want people around me to think of when they hear the name Madhura Bharadwaj, right? That's the personal brand that I create for myself. Your audience, what are the kind of people? So let's say uh, it's a promise or a trust or credibility that people hold in you. You're in college right now and you have a bunch of friends. What do your friends think of you when you interact with them? They might think of you as a kind person. They may think of you as their 3 a.m. friend who they can call at any time, right? So that's the brand you created for yourself in your personal life. Similarly, a professional brand is very important. And I'll also be talking about how you can create this overall brand through your LinkedIn profile. Okay, so why is it important? It's a promise of trust and credibility. Next, storytelling. Storytelling is, simply put, explaining your journey. Let's say, for example, you'll be talking to recruiters in a couple years from now. If you're in your second or third year, you'll be talking to recruiters for internship and for full-time opportunities in a year or two, right? So when you talk to them, you have to be able to explain your journey. Your journey always makes sense in retrospect. For example, right now you may not exactly know why you're learning data science or why you're learning machine learning, or why is it that you're mostly interested in, let's say if you're an electronic student, why are you mostly interested in VLSI, right? So these are the things that you may not be able to answer right now. But as you move ahead in your engineering journey, maybe you choose a final year project that is based on the subjects that you like. Maybe you chose certain subjects in your electives because you had interest in learning them, right? So right now you may not be able to put all the pieces together or pieces of the puzzle together, but when you speak to a recruiter, or when you speak to anybody to whom you're pitching yourself, you should be able to exactly tell them a story of your journey. For example, it's very important for you to tell your for storytelling, especially for your setbacks. Now if I have to give you my own example, I wanted to pursue Masters of Science, or MS as they call in the US, in the year 2016. I had all my preparations ready and I had all my applications ready. But the day I had to actually accept an admission from a university, I had a personal setback and I could not go ahead and accept that opportunity. But a couple years later, when I was talking to a person whom I was pitching my profile to, I was asked this question: why did you never take up masters? So the way I put this story was that I really wanted to do my master's and I wanted to gain more knowledge on a particular subject. But because of a personal setback, I was not able to do it. But I overcompensated for it by taking up multiple online courses, and I have now a very good understanding of the subject, similar to what I would have had I done my master's, right? So this is how I put everything in place to explain my journey. So it is important to have storytelling as a skill, irrespective of what stage of your career you're at. Okay. So these are some things you need to keep in mind when you're creating or building your personal brand. Uh, you need to believe in your story. You need to believe. Right now, you may not understand why. You've chosen certain subjects, so why you have, for example, um, why are you, what's a good example to give about storytelling? Yeah, so I had a friend of mine who did not clear the subject database management systems, DBMS, in his third year. Okay. But when he finally got a job, he got a job in Microsoft under in the SQL team. Okay, and that's it. And when you think about his story, the way he pitches his story to people is that when I was in my engineering, database was one of my most difficult subjects. That was my setback. And how I overcame it was by overcompensating it by doing a project on database management systems. And today I work in the SQL team of Microsoft, and that's the way he put his story. So what I'm trying to say is, right now it may not make sense, but when you look back 5 years behind, if from today, if you look 5 years back, your 5 years of journey makes complete sense to you as a story. So you need to create that story and build that story in order to have your in order to increase your perceived value. Okay. Moving on. Be a professional. I cannot stress on this enough. The reason being, I thought that my professional journey started when I joined my first job, but I was wrong. My professional journey started when I was in my first year of engineering, and that applies to all of you. I know that all of you have, all the participants on the call right now are in your second, third, and fourth year. So know that your professional journey has already started. Every interaction with your project mates, with your lecturers, with people online, with the way you approach your assignment deadlines, everything determines your professionalism. The way you interact with different departments, all of this is all of this is creating you as a person. Okay, so always behave like a professional. Now, when I say behave like a professional, I'll give you a small example. 2 years ago, I had I had a student from a different college, not from SJC. I had a student from a different college in Mangalore approach me to ask me some information about the industry. Okay, But the way he approached me was so impersonal and so rude that I really did not want to give him any information about the industry that I was working with. The way he approached me was, "Hi, got your name from so and so. I would like to, I want to know about, I want to know about cloud." And there was no explanation whatsoever as to who he is, why I owe this information to him. Is he interested in what he is looking for, and where he got my profile from, or why he thinks I would be the best person? There was no information whatsoever. And it was outright rude for him to reach out to me out of nowhere. And when I started asking him questions about, "Hello, my name is Madhura, may I know why you're interested in this?" His reply was, "If you do not want to share, don't share, but don't ask me so many questions." You get what I'm saying? I understand that you're students, but you have to behave professional and you have to already act like you're in the industry, already behave like you have 5 years of experience being in the industry. That is the kind of etiquette you have to carry at this point in your life. Okay. So research and explore your industry. Let's say you're in the civil engineering field, or let's say you're in the mechanical engineering field. Start researching about what are the companies in this particular field, who are the big players in the market, what are the different domains in which domains in which people are working. For example, I'm from the computer science background, so I can tell you about different domains here. People work in data science, people work in machine learning, people work in the cloud. These are the different domains. Now, coming to the roles, there are different roles like people work as a software developer, people work in software testing, they work as data analysts, they work as product managers, program managers. There are different roles. So, as a student, when I was in my final year, all I knew was I wanted to become a developer. But as I progressed in the industry, I now know that there are much more roles than just a software developer. Similarly, if you're in the civil, mechanical, electrical, electronics, whichever field that might be, whichever stream of engineering that might be, explore and understand that at this point, it is too early for you to zero down or narrow down on one particular role, or one particular subject. You're still in your second, third, and fourth year, and as one of my lecturers rightly said, it is not bachelors of engineering, it is basics of engineering. So do not jump to conclusions that this is the field that you want to start working in. Take your time, explore. You have time till your fourth year of engineering, and even beyond, even after you join the industry, you still have time to explore and see what are the different fields and what are the different roles that are there in your industry. Do not jump into conclusion right now. I did that mistake, and I learned it when I joined my first job, that what my calling was, and the software development was not exactly something that I would be happy doing. I was good at it, but that's not something I would be happy doing. So you need to know what it is, and you will only know that by exploring and reaching out to as many people as possible. Follow experts and attend events. uh, when I was in engineering, I started following people from Apple, people from Microsoft, and people from Amazon. I started keeping track of different events that happen. Microsoft has events like Build, and AWS has events like Cloud Guru, or there are some events that they host every year. I'm sure every industry and every company right now has virtual events for students that you can attend and keep track of the industry. The reason I'm asking you to do this is not just to build your own knowledge, but second, whenever somebody posts their experience about these events in their LinkedIn profile, it gains a lot of traction. Let's say you attended Microsoft's Build a couple of months ago. If you put up a summary of Build, and if you put up what excited you the most about that particular event, there are people watching you around. Your connections are watching you, your colleagues are watching you, your professors or people in the industry, recruiters are all watching you on LinkedIn. And they know that you are a person who takes interest in events and interest in the happenings around the industry, and keeps track of them, and also and shares their experience to help everybody else in the community, right? So you're leaving your digital footprint in a professional way. I hope that's clear. Your digital footprint has to be as professional as possible in order to create your complete perceived personal brand. Next, always show up. If you're committed to something, if you have, for example, committed to complete an assignment on time, complete it on time. That's how your lecturers perceive you to be professional. If you have signed up for an event, reach here on time. For example, today, a lot of you have signed up for this particular event. Make sure that you have reached on time. The next event that is going to happen at 10:30, or how many ever webinars are there, reach there on time. You're building your professional discipline right from your college days. So always show up. Next, a tip on adding connections on LinkedIn. I get asked this question a lot. How do I approach recruiters, or how do I approach a technology leader in the industry? I follow the leaders, but I want them to be added as my connection. How do I do that? Um, One fail-safe way of doing this, or one professional way of doing this, would be to scan the person's profile, completely look at that person's profile, read the details that they have put, read their summary, read the headline and the institutions that they have studied in, the companies they have worked for. So once you've scanned their profile, see if you can find something that you share in common with that particular person. For example, if you were to connect with me, you would look at my profile and you would see St. Joseph Engineering College in my profile. Now, you know that that is a connecting point between me and you. That is a connecting point where we share a common institution. Our alma mater is the same. So that's where you can start the conversation from. You say, "Hi, I am so and so. I came across your profile as you're an alumni of SJEC, and I would like to connect with you because I'm interested in this particular field, and I see that you're working in the same field." So that's a way you can reach out to alumni from our college. If you want to reach out to somebody from the industry, there has to be a common point. For example, if you're reaching out to somebody who's working in the VLSI field, you reach out to that person and say that you have a course on VLSI and that has interested you a lot, and you read through their profile and you see that they have worked a lot on a lot of projects on VLSI, and that's why you're adding them, and you would like to expand your network in that particular field. So the person who receives your request may not essentially know you or may not have met you ever, but they know that you're interested in what they have to offer the community, which is why you're adding them. That is more important. I get added on a lot of people add me on on LinkedIn without exactly giving this particular uh, small note, without leaving a note as to why they want to add me, which is totally fine as long as I can scan their profile and figure out why they might have added me. For example, I get requests from a lot of you students and I accept them almost immediately because I know there's a connecting point between us, and I'll always be there for my students. But that's not always the case for professionals. Recruiters and industry leaders and people from different companies in the industry get hundreds of requests a day. And unless there is a common point that you can connect with, there's no way they are going to accept your request in the first go. That's one thing. The other thing is, it's good to leave a note, like I said, but at the same time, it is not a good idea to pitch something right in your first message. For example, if you're approaching a recruiter, do not just say, "Hi, my name is so and so. I have so many years of experience. I'm interested in this so and so and so. And then I saw a job opening on your portal. I need a job, please." No, that's not how you do it. You reach out to that person just like I told you. If you share a common interest, discuss about that interest, build curiosity about your own profile, and then express your interest to work for her or his company. Okay, so there's a sweet spot between sharing too much and not telling anything at all. So you need to hit that sweet spot. All right, so we have another poll question. Um, so can you please go ahead and post
Yeah,
this?
Mathura, actually, we missed the first question as well. So
Oh,
I think we can
okay.
put up both the questions one after the other as well, because
Okay,
it's just the
sure.
timing proper to have there. Right,
Sure.
guys, you have poll question on your screen. Please select one answer out of this, and it will tell us where do we stand as of now.
Okay, I think we have the answers.
All right, Mathura, you can see the answer as well, I guess.
Yes, I can see the answer. So I see majority of them say they are already on LinkedIn. Some of them are still considering it. Three of them do not find it useful, which is totally fine. As long as you have other platforms of networking, that's totally fine. And 72 of them have not answered. I'm not sure if there has been any glitch at their end. Okay, so it's good. Majority of you are already on LinkedIn. So what I'm saying will hopefully help you enhance your profile. And those of you who are still considering, I hope today's session helps you decide whether you're going to be finding it useful or not. I hope that helps. Yeah, I think we can move on to the next poll. Okay, so I have the results. It says 59 out of 290 people are confident. Uh, 28 need help with where to start, and there are 143 people who are somewhat confident approaching people on LinkedIn but need some time, need some type of guidance. Okay, all right, that is great. So I have an idea of great. Can you still see my screen, ma'am? Can you see my screen?
We can see the screen, yes.
Okay, okay, all right. All right. So it looks like majority of you are somewhat confident, but still need some help and guidance on how to reach your how to reach contacts on LinkedIn. I hope these points have helped you. Um, Another way to build curiosity about your profile or to share about you is the star method. Whenever you speak to somebody or whenever you're pitching your profile to somebody, use the star method, STAR. S is explaining the situation, T is explaining the task that you did, A is the action, and R is the results. For example, always explain the situation or always explain your profile to them or explain what you're interested in. Next, you say, what are the courses you did? What are the projects you did uh, to justify your interest in that particular subject or that particular domain? And then talk about your achievements. What is the result or impact of your achievements? Always remember, whatever you do, you have to think of the purpose and the impact. Purpose is why you're doing what you're doing. The next is the impact. For example, let's say you're good at web designing, or you're good at front end and back end development. You're good at linking purpose with an impact. What is a good example of how you could do that? If you know how to build a profile, build a website, and if you know how to connect a database to it, the purpose for you might be just learning how all of this works. But let's say if you could impact hundreds of people with the same knowledge. I have a friend who is in the electronics background, who has done his engineering in electronics and now is working in a core electronics company. But he wanted to do something for the COVID-19 patients or COVID-19 impacted people overall in the slum areas in Mumbai. So what he did was he learned how to use a website builder and how to connect a database to it and everything. And he created a fundraising profile. He created a fundraising website. So with that website, as of today, he has already raised 85,000 rupees and he's helping people with that amount of money. So what I'm trying to say is it's not just enough for you to know how to do something, but you should always think about how it impacts people. The number of people your projects or your solutions or your ideas are impacting is proportional to the attention that your profile gets, or is proportional to how much your brand is going to exponentially increase. So this is to say that if you're doing something good, might as well do the same good for a lot of people and also at the same time get a professional recognition for it. This is in no way to be selfish, but it is to get the due recognition that the due recognition that you deserve. It's not enough. For example, I didn't know about impact and purpose when I was in my college days. When we were asked to create a project on websites and databases, I created something called a box office management system that only me and three of my friends used to use. There was nobody else that we could even go up to and pitch our box office management system to. But today I know that had I understood the importance of impact, I would have created something more. Probably I would have created something for the college or something for the NGO that I was working for, right? So always understand everything you're learning today must have an impact and you must be able to create something tangible out of it. Okay. um, Moving on. LinkedIn profile optimization. I will walk you through my own LinkedIn profile because I would not like to pick out any other LinkedIn profile to walk through and point out certain things. I'll walk through my own LinkedIn profile and show you what are the places where you definitely have to make use of, what you definitely have to make use of in order to make your profile look professional. So first is add a profile picture. Always have a profile picture. It's okay if you do not have a professional looking shot with a three-piece suit and a plain background in a studio. It is perfectly fine. You do not have to have pictures like that, but just make sure that your profile picture is not a group picture. It clearly tells who you are and what you are, and just make sure it's the most recent picture and not a picture from when you were a toddler or when you were in your school, I guess. So add a profile picture. Next is optimize your profile URL. When you create your LinkedIn profile, there is a URL that is assigned to your profile. You can always optimize it to make it more simpler. That way, when you post it on your resume, it looks professional. I'll tell you what I'm talking about once I go into my profile. Next, no spelling and grammar mistakes. I have seen this a lot in a lot of profiles, and this is the biggest turnoff. If you cannot be professional and if you cannot even proofread your own LinkedIn profile, there is no way anybody is going to trust you with their code or with their buildings or with their automobiles that you're going to be building. So, this is the least you can do. Make sure there are no spelling and grammar mistakes on your profile. Profile heading. A lot of you have the profile heading as student at St. Joseph Engineering College, which is perfectly fine, okay? Which is probably perfectly fine for a first year engineering student because they're just starting off their engineering journey. But as you progress, make sure that you customize your profile to display your interests. Let it say that you're interested in certain subjects or interested in a particular kind of project. Let's say you're interested in blockchain, interested in some kind of gadget or whatever it may be. Just let it reflect, be creative and let it reflect what you're truly interested in, and not just a generic student at so and so college. If anybody opens your profile, they are going to know that you're from student of SJC because there is a section for college separately. So you don't have to waste your heading already to heading again to put it. It's simply waste of real estate. Don't do that. Next is your about or summary section. The summary section is where you give them a brief about what you are as a person. It could be a sneak peek into both your professional and personal life. What do you do in your free time, or what do you do as a professional? What do you do in your college? What are the projects you're interested in? Are you in the robotics group? The most interesting things. Build curiosity about your profile. Not giving out everything, at the same time also building curiosity. You hopefully will get a better idea about this when I present my profile to you. Next is discussing about your projects. This I will only be able to explain you once I share my profile. So
Madhura, I would quickly add in a word here. You can start
yes,
sharing
ma'am.
your profile. But all those who are listening to this talk today, please understand when you put, and this is in the interest of your profile and the college both, when you name St. Joseph Engineering College, I have seen many people write SAINT, Saint. Please don't do that. Go and check how the name looks on the website, and each one of your resumes should have the same name of the college, because the names, I mean, the titles are not different. A Lamborghini, as she said, would be spelled as Lamborghini. MTR would be spelled the way MTR is. And so St. Joseph itself is a brand and it will be spelled the way it is. So you have to write it as ST. There is no dot after that. Joseph J capital, Engineering E capital, College C capital. That's the bare minimum that you have to look. When you create your LinkedIn profiles, St. Joseph Engineering College already exists on LinkedIn. So when you type, you probably get a drop down there. Please select, it has got a logo as well. That will give you the effect of being associated with St. Joseph's as well. A quick one for all of you. Please ensure or write it down when you're going to create your profile there. Yeah. Over to you, Madhura.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. That's exactly the most important point that I wanted to mention. Thank you for saying that. So I will get into more details of what ma'am just mentioned, but I will start from the top. Okay. So you need your picture does not have to be professional. Mine wasn't clicked in front of a green screen or in a studio. This was a candid picture from one of the events that I attended. So that's something that I uploaded. Now,
Uh,
for me,
Madhura, sorry to interrupt. I think
yes,
you
ma'am.
are sharing one application, I think. So the browser is not visible.
Oh, is it? Okay. Let me stop sharing and share again. Is it visible? Just let me know when it gets visible. It should be visible now. Can you confirm?
It's visible. It's visible. Please
Okay,
proceed.
perfect. Perfect. Okay. So this is this is my profile, and the reason I picked this out is because I did not want to pick any other person's profile, especially because this is being recorded. But you can look at any industry leader's profile, and there are some standards that everybody follows, and I would recommend you follow that as well. Okay. So make sure that you have your full professional name. Next is the heading. For me, I find this as the most relevant heading I'm because I'm speaking more about my role as a technical lead in my profile. So I would want people to know me as a technical lead. So similarly, I would want people to know you as somebody interested in something rather than just a student of HAC, because your profile already says that you're a student, down below, so you don't have to waste that area to again reiterate that you are a student. Okay. Next is there's another thing about headings. I see a lot of people who put looking for opportunity, or looking for job opportunities, looking for internships in their heading itself. While that is okay to put, there is a better place where you can put these things. It is called career. So yeah, so this is the place. See, you see this open to work. I did this just before our call, so you can see how this looks like. So you can either make it visible only to recruiters, or everybody on LinkedIn. So whoever opens your profile know that you're open to work under certain roles, right? So this is the area that you should ideally make use of if you're looking for opportunities, and try to avoid putting that on a heading. Maybe that is a more professional way to do it. Next is the about section. Like I said, this is what I wrote in my summary to create a curiosity as to what I do at Microsoft, but not exactly giving out all the details in such a way that people are no longer interested in having a conversation with me, right? So, so this is what I would like to share, just about 2 to 3 sentences, not more, not less. Next is if you have your blogs, if you're into blogging, or if you are a YouTuber who posts technical content on YouTube, or if you attended an event, or if you presented somewhere and there was a news coverage, news article coverage about you, this is the place where you can showcase all your digital footprint as a technical person. Please make sure that your profile remains technical unless you want to be an entrepreneur in a different field. Let's say you want to be an entrepreneur in the organic farming field. In that sense, you're going to be putting all the information related to organic farming on your profile, which is totally fine. But if you're looking to be in the technical field, make sure that your field is majorly technical. Next is your experience. So I'm going to skip through all this because your experience probably starts from here. Now, if you have worked, let me go to education first before experience. Okay. So this is how your college name is spelled. It is St. Joseph Engineering College, Mangaluru. And only when you put this particular name, the logo of the college will be visible. I have seen names like ma'am said SAINT. I have seen Joseph with an apostrophe S, which says Joseph's. You're not a student of St. Joseph's, you're a student of St. Joseph Engineering College. Some of you also have St. Joseph's College of Engineering, that makes it SJCE. And SJCE is a college in Mysore, and there's also an SJCE in Madras, but you're a student of the Mangalore SJEC. So make sure that your college is spelled right. Um, Next is if you have any of your certifications, this is a good place to put it. Um, yeah, about recommendations. I would I cannot stress enough about the importance of recommendation because your profile is something that you have published about yourself. Your profile is something where you showcase what you want people to see. But recommendation is something that your colleagues are also vouching for you. So your colleagues are also trying to say what this person says is 100% correct, and I have seen this person work professionally, and I highly recommend them to work in your organization. So it's always good to ask for recommendations. Now, you are not yet working in a company, so how do you ask for recommendations? Like I said, you are already professionals. So since your first year, who are the people you have worked with? Have you done any internships? Ask your supervisor for a recommendation. Have you worked under a professor in your college for any project? Ask your professor to write you a professional recommendation. Your project teammates. If you worked in a project, if the four of you have worked in a project, the four of you are colleagues. And this is the work group that is going to stick to you for a long time because when you think back at college, these are the professional experiences that you have. So your project mates are also your colleagues who can write recommendations for you. So make sure that you have recommendations from the people who have closely worked with you so that your profile carries more weight. Okay. Next is if you have any awards, uh, if you've won accolades in college, if you have participated in events, always make sure you put them. Under accomplishments, you have 4 categories. Make sure you fill these categories, but do not fill it with lies. People people make up all kinds of projects when they want to fill their project section. Do not do that. As an industry professional, I know what I know how many projects a student is capable of doing. I know what are the subjects, and I know what is the time duration that the student gets to spend on projects. So if you copy project from a student from another college and just fill your profile here just to make it look cool, it might be okay to get an interview call, but eventually your recruiter and your company is going to find out, and then it's not going to look professional. So do not copy any information from anybody's profile. I cannot stress this enough. No plagiarism whatsoever. Even LinkedIn posts, we see there are LinkedIn influencers who have amazing inspirational posts, and there are about 10,000, 20,000 people liking those posts, which is fine because it is their original content. But sometimes you might also have come across people who copy that content and share on their profile just to increase followers. I'm assuming that is not your intention at this point. Your intention is to network, and get to know people better. get to build your professional network. So I would say stick to the original content and don't do any kind of plagiarism. So yeah, about projects, I'll quickly show you the projects before I move on to the last slide. You can name your projects and say what was your role. I was a project manager in this project. I was a developer here. I was a project owner here. So make sure you give as much information as possible in your project so that it looks professional. Okay. I'm going to quickly go back to my PPT in the interest of time. I'm just going to take 2 more minutes to share. Okay, I'm just going to take 2 more minutes to share the last bit of the PPT, and then we will move on to Q&A.
In the meantime that Madhura is sharing her presentation back to all the participants, if you have any questions, please put it in the Q&A box there. In the interest of time, we will answer as much as possible. The rest we can always respond back to you personally one-on-one as well.
Yes, you can always reach out to me. All right, so this is just the last slide that I have, LinkedIn etiquette. This is mostly that I've covered everything. Do's and don'ts, okay? Do know that there are humans behind a profile. Like I said, do not just start asking people about their professional details without formally introducing yourself and expressing interest in their content. Next is spell your institution names correctly. Engage on posts from people you admire. You can like and comment on inspirational posts, but do not copy the same information and post on your profile. Ask for recommendations, share your learning and interests, and create original content as much as possible. Do not ask for someone's salary details. It might look funny to you here, but I have been asked this question, and that is the most ridiculous question you could ever ask. Not your seniors and not your not anybody else from the industry. Do not resort into asking these questions. Do not copy posts. Do not copy profile information from others. These are just the basic etiquettes that you should follow when you're on LinkedIn. I hope the session has been helpful. I will open the forum for Q&A right now, and I will try to answer as many questions as possible. Let me stop sharing. Like I said again, if you're not comfortable sharing, asking questions on this chat, which I understand, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, or you can send me an email at madhurabharadwaj@outlook.com, and I'll be happy to maybe review your profile and give you suggestions on how to improve it. But if there's anything that you could ask here to help the wider audience understand, or to help the wider audience with who might have the same question at you, that will be great.
Madhura,
Yes, sir.
here we have a first question.
Okay.
We have how do you simplify your LinkedIn URL? The question is, how do you simplify your LinkedIn URL?
Okay. Okay. Okay, that's a good question. I think I missed mentioning that. So I hope you can see my screen. So if you go into the edit mode of your profile, so there is a place called contact info, profile URL, email, birthday, and all other IDs, right? So this is where. So this is the profile URL where you can optimize it. I have already optimized it to be this. In your particular profile, you can go to the same place and edit this particular profile URL, and you can make it to be something as simple. It's good if it reflects your full name, but if your full name is already taken because there are so many people on LinkedIn, make sure it's something close to your full name, something recognizable professionally. For example, do not add funky monkey, for example. I'm just giving you a ridiculous example so you know what to do and what not to do, but keep it as professional as possible.
Okay, that was a good question from Astrid Fernandez. And we have next question from Shrisha KJ, I think from Electronics and Communication Engineering. The question
Okay.
is, her interests are in computer science. Now, while building the profile, what should I concentrate on? I repeat
Can
the
you repeat that?
question. I'm
Okay.
an electronics and communication engineering student, but my interests are in computer science. Now, while building the profile, what should I concentrate on? That's from Srisha KJ.
Okay, okay. That's a good question, Shisha. Now let's think of this in a holistic way, okay? Electronics and communication in today's world is not completely different from computer science. I'm glad that you said you're a ENC student, but you're interested in computer science, and you did not say that you're a civil engineering student interested in ENC, right? That would be a difficult question for me to answer. So there is a lot of overlap between these two streams of engineering, and subjects like data science or machine learning or cloud or even computer architecture or embedded systems, these are some things that are in the intersection of these two subjects. So that is a point that you could leverage while building your profile. It definitely does not uh, impact your profile negatively if you say that you're interested in computer science while you're an ENC student, because there is a intersection point between these two streams. So concentrate on what is that subject you're interested in that might share a common ground between both of these streams. And then if you have any projects based on that, or if you have any courses completed on that, build your profile based on those things. So unless your interest lies in a completely unrelated field, which might then be difficult to justify, I think the position you're in is quite common these days, and this is something I would suggest everybody to do.
Okay, and we have a third question from Vikas Shetty.
Okay.
The question is it important to niche down and show interest to a particular field or subject? I repeat the question, is it important to niche down and show interest to a particular field or subject?
The question is if it is important to list out, right?
Niche down.
It says, is it important to niche down? I mean,
Okay.
to pin down to a particular interest as such on a particular field or a subject.
Not necessary, not necessary. Like I said, I've people have reached out to me saying that I am interested in, let's say, cybersecurity, or I'm interested in data science or embedded systems. What I always tell them is, make sure that you have done your complete research before you pin down and niche down and zero down into that one subject that you want to go ahead and start working for. Because now the industry is overlapping over and over again with different streams, and there is not one particular stream that you should be concentrating on, right? It's too early in your career right now to be focusing on just a particular subject, or just certain subjects, and say that I'm going to be building my career on these. Because for all you know, by the time you graduate, there is going to be a new field or a new technology that takes over everything that you have studied in the past 4 years, right? So I would say this is your time to research and explore. Nobody is asking you to pick out that one thing you're interested in. As long as you continue your research and build your knowledge as to um, what are the things that are there. It's okay to eliminate, but I would say it's not okay to immediately zero down on something. If there is a subject that does not interest you, or if there is a subject that does not make sense for you right now, that's fine. But if you like something, make sure that you explore and see if there's anything else that you might like as well.
The next question is from Elvin. He says, actually, he's okay with approaching new connections, but how is it that we can maintain the same for a long run?
Okay. Thank you, Elvin, for that question. Um, so about maintaining connections for a long run, there are simple things that you can do. For example, once you approach a connection by, let's say, sharing a common interest, and you approach a connection and you are interested in their content, obviously you approach that person is because you are interested in the content they generate, interested in their professional life. Simple ways would be to engage on their posts. If they share their thoughts on something that they're working on, comment on their post saying that you liked what they shared, or if you don't agree with them, politely disagree and put out your thoughts. That is a way of engaging with them for a long term. Now, do not engage with people just for the heck of it. Um, sometimes there are, people tend to approach people and constant, especially recruiters, right? People approach them and constantly comment on each of their posts just with an hidden agenda of possibly landing a job in their company some other day. We do not want to come across as such people. So I would say, if you're genuinely interested in their content, engage with them, comment or share their posts. Or when you share posts, I'm sure that they will be happy to engage on your posts as well. So there is no point in doing a deliberate effort to keeping in, continuing that relationship in a long term, but it has to come organically to you. Sometimes we get so self-absorbed and so obsessed with LinkedIn as a platform that everybody nowadays in this pandemic, everybody is sharing certifications, everybody is posting something new they learned, and so many stars and certifications and internships. It can get overwhelming at times, especially when you may not be doing as much as them. It can get overwhelming. So you should be the person who decides how much you should consume, what is the content you should consume, and what you should let out. Make sure, like any other social media platform, LinkedIn also should not turn out to be toxic to you. So when you're in your final year, you will start experiencing this. You will start experiencing the toxicity of the platform you're at. So make sure that you consume only how much you can. Do not make a deliberate effort to keep in connection with someone. It has to come organically to you.
In the interest of time, Madhura, this will be the last question, and this
Okay.
is to you as a personal question, rather, from Regina. She says, did you have the same interest when you were a student when compared to now? In fact, how did you describe your interest slash your profile summary when you were a student?
Okay. When I was a student, I wish I had somebody to tell me the things that I'm telling you right now. Because as a student, I had only explained my profile summary when I was in my final year. In my second and third year, I don't think I even had a LinkedIn profile at that time. In my final year, I spoke about my project, which was on Java, and the project was and that particular project was about all the subjects I had learned in my computer science engineering. So about 12 or 13 subjects were included in that one project that I was doing. So that is something that I found interesting about my profile. And I explained that in my summary. So because that was the unique selling point for me at that time. At that time, LinkedIn did not have the project section and the publication section separate. It was a very simple layout at the time. But I wish I had somebody to explain me all these things, and I would have had probably a better profile or something like I have right now.
That goes good. There are a couple of questions like, LinkedIn endorsements are important. I would answer this. Yes, they are important. Probably on a student perspective, you might not find it to be very relevant at this point of time. But once you are a professional and you have a lot of credits and, you want to vouch people for the job that you do, that becomes really important. So that's the answer to that question as well.
Great.
It's just about 10 o'clock. We have another session lined up at 10:30. I think we could pretty much cover everything that we wanted to look at. This is to all the students who have logged in here. As I had mentioned in my email, I am reiterating this, that post this session, I would want each one of you to create a LinkedIn profile. You can keep refining it, you can keep making it professional, but in the first go, at least go and make a profile there with your LinkedIn URL. I will share a Google Sheet soon, and you guys have to update me with your LinkedIn URLs, and then we can also connect as an SJEC community where you have tons of alumni also there, including Madhura, who can also be of help to all you guys. So that's the main agenda, and to make your resumes look more professional. I hope all of you will do this. There is a feedback link in your chat box there. Please drop in your feedback for this particular webinar. A couple of questions. It will help if you answer those so that we can do more sessions like this. Thank you, Madhura, for taking time out. You are brilliant as usual. I wish you all success in your future endeavors, your new assignment with Microsoft in USA. and blessings from all of us. Thank you, Vinutan sir, for being there, Ragesh sir, for helping us host this event, and all my participants. That was a good number. We saw approximately 350 odd students. That was a good participation. And thank you, Madhura, for sparing your time and
Thank
being with us this morning.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so
ma'am. Thank you,
much.
ma'am. Thank you, sir. And thank you, everyone. Thank you for attending the session. I hope this has been helpful. You can always reach out to me on LinkedIn or my email, and I'll be happy to help you with anything that you would like me to. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you.